Good evening and welcome to this edition of Tok Piksa. The past week has been one of big announcements. Tonight we have a story on Ok Tedi Mining's announcement of a temporary shutdown of operations and how the people of Kiunga and Tabubil are dealing with it. We also look at two different ways rural districts are seeing change. We look at Bololo, which is becoming a shining example of LLG empowerment through bottom-up planning and implementation. And we also look at the national government's Waigani to the district's approach through impact projects. But first we travel to Kokopo, where development and the soon-to-open Trans-New Britain Highway are expected to bring challenges of a more criminal nature. EMTV's provincial correspondent Edwin Fidelis, who is based out of Kokopo, has our first story tonight.
In 1994, the simultaneous eruptions of Mount Tavurvur and Vulcan buried the town of Rabaul, which used to be the provincial capital of East New Britain. Basic government services and other businesses shifted their operations and relocated to Kokopo. Kokopo used to be a small urban township, but the relocation of businesses to Kokopo saw gradual changes in the construction industry. By early year 2000, the developments had outdone what had originally been in Rabaul, and over the last 21 years since the eruption, the town of Kokopo had emerged into the fourth largest city of Papua New Guinea. In 2014, the national government announced its plans to further develop Kokopo into a tourism hotspot for the country, and more than 58 million kina was allocated to upgrade the town.
Remember, we are doing tourism in the industry. We are doing it in sports. We will be doing it in education. We want to do it also in health. So those are the different facets of what we want to do in tourism. So
the Tokwa airport will be redeveloped to international standard to cater to overseas flights. The town's water and sewage system will be improved, and also land will be made available along the Kokopo-Tokwa stretch. This will serve both industrial and commercial developments as well as the hospitality industries along the foreshore.
we are also going down to the districts, the 4 districts, meet the district tourism committee plus all DAs, Blongol, and talk about tourism and what they need to propel going forward in terms of tourism.
But new developments means new challenges for the province. While Kokopo town gears up to meet its economic expectation as the tourism hotspot, the police are becoming more concerned with the challenges that the new developments will bring. The commencing of the New Britain Highway in the coming months that will link East and West New Britain has already posed a new threat to the police.
At the back of Kinabot,
the Provincial Police Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. says the new highway will open doors to large influx of people coming into East New Britain, and more people coming means more land will be needed to cater to this large influx.
We may anticipate a lot of problems when the New Britain Highway opens up, where we link up West New Britain and East New Britain. So we need to clamp down on illegal settlements immediately now, so that we stop that sort of problem from escalating when the New Britain Highway opens up.
The East New Britain Police Boss had already begun discussions with the provincial government over illegal settlement growth.
So it's a very big concern to police on the number of illegal settlements popping up around the town, especially the Takoba area, at the back of Kinabot. There are a couple of illegal quarter settlements popping up, and this has been causing a lot of problems for us, with the influx of people coming in, the number of unemployed people within the community.
The police have already anticipated an upsurge in the level of crime that will be fueled by squatters. In the last 3 years, the growth of illegal settlements on the peripheries of Kokopo town had increased significantly. Over the last 2 weeks, Kokopo and Rabaul town have experienced a string of armed robberies, car theft and marijuana trafficking, and the police have leveled the blame against illegal settlements.
Our youth population
Last week, the Kokopo police had also nabbed a 25-year-old man for being in possession of a large quantity of marijuana. The suspect admitted to police that the large consignment of marijuana was transported to Kokopo through commercial flights from Ley and sold on the streets of Kokopo and Rabaul.
I have asked the provincial administration to seriously look into that, and we need to start uprooting those illegal settlements and start moving people out of the province.
While all eyes are now on Kokopo as the tourism destination, the East Nubitan police say they already have a backlog of law and order issues to deal with. The police say they want to make sure that the city won't follow the same path as Ley and Port Moresby, where illegal settlements and crime is a major concern.
You're watching Tok Piksa. The Bulolo District Authority has been slowly empowering its local level governments to build capacity in a bottom-up approach. But while some may see the Bulolo example as the way forward, the national government has what it calls a direct intervention to the people. Testament to what the government has been doing are projects scattered around the country, all directly funded from Waigani and bypassing provincial and local level governments. Bethany Harriman has more on this story.
The Bulolo District Authority is working in its Joint District Budget Priorities Committee to slowly build the local level governments. The JDBPC chairman, Bulolo MP Sem Basil, has on many occasions carried out projects in the district aimed at impacting the lives of the people at the ward councils. On numerous occasions, especially during the opening of a market, station houses or bridge, the deputy opposition leader has shared his views about the development from the ground up.
And when Pango Party and the opposition goes into government, we will make sure that we will revert back to the original plan that we were supposed to do when the Australian colonizers gave us independence and walked away. And the magic number is 314. 314 is the magic number. 314 is the number of local level governments throughout Papua New Guinea. And as I always say, that every local level government should have 10 reserve police or 10 regular police with a vehicle or a boat if it's in the sea.
The one-time planning minister in the O'Neill Nama government had pushed for the NEC to approve a 500,000 kina funding to the local level governments. In Bulolo's Boang LLG, local level government manager Winnie Naken explains just how close the third tier of government is to the people.
You know, got money, big blow money, blow making work, like government give me 500,000 just for 2 years. Na I'm kissing back, but me like talk sabe lo government masara musem. LLG, that's where the people are, the bulk of people.
The style of development involving the third tier of government would mean specialized people in all the essential fields in each ward council throughout Papua New Guinea.
The 3,000 ward areas needs 3,000 bed attendants, needs 3,000 CHW or community health workers, 3,000 councillors, we already have that, and magistrates, and a community center that all the activities should be held in. That is mobilizing the ward before mobilizing the local level government, and the country moves forward. We are not doing it.
In the Bulolo district, various projects are spawning from funding coming from district funds that are often late to arrive. On the flip side of the local level government being used to develop the ward councils and build from the ground up, there is now direct intervention from the national government through district authorities. Nyanguru Sausia MP and Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Richard Maru is heading a district authority that is building roads, providing electricity and building police stations through a 100 million kina direct intervention funding from the national government.
Get ready, local foreigners will come and reside in our district for the first time after 40 years of independence.
The projects are aimed at encouraging foreign investment in the district. The development in Nyanguru Sausia is happening against a backdrop of agricultural projects happening on the Sipik Plain.
Whoever wants to cattle, you stay in the zone. Whoever wants to do rice, you stay in the zone. Whoever wants to oil palm, you go to the zone. There's enough land for everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Minister Maru, during a speech at the country's first ever district SME Day held in Nyanguru last month, said investment will be happening in his district.
And I want to tell you, Isipik has the greatest land resource of any province in this country for agriculture. And in Nyanguru Sausia alone, we have over 150,000 hectares of flat grassland, Sipik Plain, and then of course, Orlando Milo Mountain.
On the other side of the government benches, Deputy Opposition Leader and Bulolo MP Sam Basil, the Bulolo Joint District Budget Priorities Committee Chairman, allocated funds to the district authority to build ward council capacity in local level governments.
As I've said, I was a national planning minister before. I didn't have much time. I had less than 12 months to initiate the programs. Now, we put 500,000 back into the LLGs to make the LLGs function. And out of those 500,000, there were strings attached to it on what and how they were going to spend those money. But unfortunately, the Onil Dion government implemented that LLG SIP program as a more of a discretionary type of program money.
He said on numerous occasions that empowering the local level government with key infrastructure was the way forward for development.
Welcome back to Tok Piksa. Monday, July 27th saw the announcement by Ok Tedi Mining Limited of a temporary shutdown of operations. Low water levels in the mighty Fly River and stagnant commodity prices on the world market were said to be responsible. EMTV sent reporter Sarah Aupong and cameraman Kons Kara to the Western Province to find out more of this decision, which could potentially be a big game changer for the local people whose whole lives and economy revolves around the Ok Tedi mine.
The 27th July announcement by Ok Tedi Mining Limited to temporarily close the mine caught a lot of people by surprise. The mine cited low water levels and low copper and gold prices as the reason for the announcement, something the managing director and CEO Peter Graham described as compounding an already trying financial time for the company.
I mean, in the course of the last 5 years, the price has fallen by more than 30%. Copper's down 35% and gold is down 30%. So as our revenues decline, it pinches us in terms of our costs. Yeah. If they stay the same, we end up with being in difficulties. So we're obliged to see how we can reduce our costs. And we're working all the avenues to reduce the costs.
The low water levels directly impact two important factors that ensure the smooth running of the mine. The water levels at Okmenga Power Station at Tabubil that powers the mine mills, and the Fly River water levels that ensure that ships carrying essential food and fuel cargo can sail into the Kiunga wharf. As of Tuesday, the 28th of July, when we flew into Kiunga, we noticed there were large amounts of water at the wetlands near Kiunga town. This was the water level at the Kiunga wharf on the same day. Residents of Kiunga town who live and conduct trade along the banks of the river say there were changes in the water levels.
1 month ago, the river level dropped very low, and then just last week only, there was a big rise in the river level. There were some ships that came, but they were anchored downstream, and there was a couple of them that were anchored upstream because of the river level that was down. They couldn't go alongside the general cargo wharf with the operations at the port services and at the Ok Tedi wharf.
Lucy said when the river levels rise, ships were able to come in and offload their cargo.
Fly Challenger, Fly Prosperity, Fly Resilience. They all came and they all left.
Peter Graham said while the recent favorable weather has helped in the river levels that allowed for supplies to reach Tabubil, according to Graham, there is still uncertainty around the water levels remaining at this height that will allow Ok Power Station to generate enough electricity for the mine.
We need high flows of water in the river at Ok to keep up the supply of hydropower. The hydropower is about 50 megawatts plus, and diesel power is almost the same again. Right. So it's almost 50-50. The challenge there with diesel power is the rate of consumption of diesel and our ability to keep that supply coming up the river. So if we can't get boats up the river with diesel on board, then diesel power goes down very quickly because we're burning hundreds of thousands of litres of diesel a day to keep that generation going.
Graham says their experience in the 97-98 El Nino and the weather information they have suggests that they will proceed with the plans they have in getting ready to shut down the mine.
I mean, our hope is we never have to, but we just need to be ready, and that's what we've been doing, is getting ready. We really need to reduce our costs in the meantime so that, and move as many people out as we can in the meantime who are non-essential people, so that if we do face the need to shut down, we can move very quickly. But we won't move until we absolutely have to. It's in our interest to keep going as long as we can.
As part of the cost-cutting measures that the mine will take, labour cost will be a major component.
Because labour represents about 20% of our total cost. So that's caused us to have to go back and look at our staffing models, the number of workers we have in the workforce. And sadly, we're having to reduce the workforce in order to just build that buffer between revenues and costs. And so about 30% of our expatriate staff and 15% of our national staff will be retrenched in the near future. And we've started that process already.
The impending closure of the mine has already raised a lot of questions and concerns for communities that are directly impacted by the mine. Other concerns for the communities are the school and hospital services. Mushe Wera, the Deputy CEO and man responsible for external and employee relations, says they have some measures in place to help the schools during this time.
We have made a consideration for grade 10s and 12 students, and families or the working parent of the students will remain on site with the children to allow them to complete the exams come October. So that's the consideration on the education side.
There are three main schools in Tabubil: the Tabubil Primary School, which also houses the elementary school, the Tabubil Secondary School, and the Tabubil International School. As of the 29th of July, they were all still open. Tabubil Primary and Secondary come under the government, and Wera says their closure or suspension is the decision of the Department of Education. During a telephone interview, Dr. Uke Kombra, the Acting Secretary for Education, says they will not advise closure of the school but a suspension, which has been the usual steps taken by government schools during times of natural disasters or unexpected circumstances. However, he says any action taken on government schools are based on the advice of the Provincial Education Board. Meanwhile, Wera says these are the plans they have for health services.
With the hospital, it costs around $10 million to provide the health service that we're providing through our hospital here. The outpatient, they have around 8,000 people a month. Obviously, during a dry weather situation, when there's no revenues coming in, it's going to be a challenge to continue funding the health services. So we have a plan to reduce the health services during this dry weather period, but not shutting down the hospital at all.
These plans were explained to the concerned landowners during a meeting between them and OTML on the 29th of July. Other concerns raised are on the ongoing community projects that will be affected, especially those administered through the local level governments. Borok Pitalok has served as the president of Star Mountain's local level government for 6 terms now. That's 30 years at the top of the local government where the Ok Tedi mine is located.
Planning program started this. Example, long mine site, long maksad long sa mine site they got corobit na attempt kit na display area. Mini study one la mini center long all kata kain all kata kain sig supply na and by stable nga instead of referring all kam long sa siga di pala sig referral kam long Tabubil. Na apply long Kiunga, Balimo, Western Province will do the same. I'll give him draft message na Minosawe how long situation will be get back improve. But one of my fear now, I would say, if we come to West for more than 2 months, 3 months, big blah.
Pitalok's colleague, Sepp Galeva, president of the Lake Murray LLG, shares the same view, but he says they started feeling the pinch of OTML's financial strife months ago.
The administration component of internal revenue of the Western Province is down. It started off last year.
And here's where we end Tok Piksa for tonight. You can catch a replay of this show on Wednesday evening, or you can go online at www.emtv.com.pg and click on the Tok Piksa tab to see this show or any of our previous ones. Until we do this again next Sunday, good night.